This time, I would like to introduce to you Dr. Karen Westbrooks, a St. Louis native, is a consecrated Lutheran deaconess out of Valparaiso University. She has a master's in theology and a PhD in individual marriage and family therapy from St. Louis University. As a professional, she has been a pastoral counselor at Lutheran Hospital, an administrator, supervisor, and counselor at Lutheran Family and Children's Services, and a clinical director at Progressive Youth Center, all in St. Louis, Missouri. For the last 3 years, Dr. Westbrooks has taught family therapy in a graduate program at Western Kentucky University in Bowling Green, Kentucky. She is a dynamic and creative teacher and speaker. Her long list of presentations and workshops date back to 1986 and have been in the areas of living the unanswerable active strengths and winning the clash, street values versus Christian values. Her most recent activities include leading an interest session at the 1995 National Youth Gathering in San Antonio, Texas, doing a presentation at a national conference of the American Counseling Association in Denver, Colorado, being a keynote speaker at the Kentucky State Consumer and Family Sciences Conference, and being a keynote speaker at the Family Enrichment Retreat for St. John's in Lexington, Kentucky. She is the proud author of 2 books, Functional Low-Income Families, Activating Strengths, published in 1995 by Vantage Press in New York, and Overcoming Dysfunction, published in 1994 by Concordia Publishing House in St. Louis. Dr. Westbrooks is especially sensitive to the challenges and joys of living single and works to integrate her faith in life on a daily basis. I present to you Dr. Westbrooks.
Come here. Come here. That is all true. And besides that, this is one of just the most wonderful people that I've met in the course of my district presidency, serving on Lutheran Family Association with her. And Karen, I have totally screwed up the agenda this morning. It said I was supposed to be done at 10:30. And I have...
That's not his problem. We have 2 different agendas out. We're going to straighten that out this afternoon. Just another little glitch that we can all smile about.
I want her to have complete time because she has so much to share with you, and I will yield time this afternoon so that you have more time. I apologize. Will you forgive me?
I'm not going to be on again until tomorrow.
Will you forgive me?
So you can yield time this afternoon. More free time for us.
I feel terrible. Please forgive me.
Thank you. Not a problem. As a matter of fact, somebody brought that thing to my attention, and I said, well, I don't mind if we have lunch on time, They said breakfast on your own, so I just was on my own, but I didn't eat breakfast, so. Okay, wonderful. It is really great to be here today. As a matter of fact, this is not the second time I've been invited back to the Ohio District. It's the 3rd time that I've been invited back to the Ohio District, and it is just a wonderful experience. It really feels good. So what I thought I'd do is start out in a way that you would not expect, because I figured, well, we would have had all that morning to sit and pay attention to stuff, in a normal Lutheran way. You know what I'm saying? Where you just kind of sit down, you do the folded hand thing where there's left or a right thumb up, whichever, doesn't really matter, but you just kind of sit there and you're all on your best behavior and that sort of thing. So I thought, well, hey, as the keynote speaker, I really don't have to be on my best behavior, because what they're going to do, not invite me back? They could, I don't know. So with the help of this crew over here, I'm going to ask them to hit it. All right. I'm going to take this off. I hope not. It should be coming. Yeah. Okay. All right. I got to wait for my cue. Can you hear me okay? You can? Okay. Was in St. Louis, minding my business, hiding away for years and days. When out of the blue, I heard someone say, I got a gig for you. Oh, yes, I do. Now what Lois who called? Where Karen Dutton at? Where that girl at? She not in here. She And for what reason, by the way? Exactly what time, what season? Yeah. And she said, come for fireworks and the singles convention. That's all she said. Fireworks, singles convention. I'm thinking to myself, wait, isn't that something she forgot to mention? Yeah. So, before the phone call was through, I said, just what is it you want me to do? As I did. We had to get that clear, And she said, come to the conference, spend some time, be the speaker, but some rhymes. Yeah. I said, come to the conference, what's the theme? And you know what she said? She said, seasons of your life, Ecclesiastes 3. I said, Ecclesiastes 3, how interesting. There's definitely a time for everything. And right now, it's time for me to really introduce myself. Excuse me. Alright, Grandmaster came from around the way, and I'm here today to show the way. So listen very carefully, cause I'm the baddest system rapper in history. Yeah, I'm a conference rapper, working on those conference systems thing, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, here we go, here we go, here we go now. Now, are you ready to roll? You feel like you got a little bit more energy this morning? Just a little bit more? Are you ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's step in the conference door. 5, 6, 7, 8. And now let's get the story straight. It's a time for joy, it's a time to laugh, it's a time to celebrate at last. And you might be saying to yourself, celebrate? Celebrate what? How can I celebrate my life when there's no husband, no wife? Oh, yeah. So just sit back and relax a while, and I'll break it down. Dr. Seuss style. Oh, my goodness. Woo-hoo! I'm going to go back now, way back, to the time when you were born. Oh, yeah. You might have sounded a little bit like this. Wah! Wah! When you were in diapers, wetting the sheets, there were a large number of people rapping to a beat. See, God, see, Christ was not a commonality. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. The God of love, the holy crew, had the nerve to do something new. And many folks were freaking and annoyed because they thought, the crew, that holy crew, you know what they thought? They thought that the crew dissed their main man, Freud. Yes, they did. The holy crew, an amazing team, is working through Christ to build a dream. The dream is you, the dream is me. The dream is bigger than we can see. Yes, it is, yes, it is, yes, it is now. Yes, it is. So single man, single lady, aunt, uncle, daughter, son, look out, 'cause it's on. You say it's on? It's on, what do you mean? How is Christ building a dream? It's on faith, it's on love, it's on the power of God above. I said it's on faith, it's on love, it's on the power of God above. Now, if you're like me, you might have experienced some friends and family, having a little conversation. And the little conversation might have gone a little bit like this. Hey, how you doing? own. Yeah. They might even say, no significant other. What you waiting on? And they might even say, you know, they might think this. They might not actually say this to you, but they might think to themselves, exactly what kind of problem do you have? You know what I'm saying? What kind of problem do you have? Hey. Oh, yeah. You see, I'm really worried about John, you know? We really gotta find him somebody. We gotta find him. You don't think he's gay, do you? Oh, my God, I would hate for him to be gay. Oh, I'm really worried about Sally. She needs somebody bad. Yeah, she needs somebody bad. Oh, yeah. But you know what? They always asking, what you waiting on? But what they don't know is it's already on. Okay? It's already on. It's on what you mean. How is Christ building his dream? Dream is you, the dream is me. The dream is bigger than we can see. Am I right? Okay? Yeah. It's on faith. It's on love. It's on the power of God above. I said it's on faith. It's on love. It's on the power of God above. Now, with this seasons thing, oh yeah, I got 4 seasons for you. I got 4 seasons for you. Of the seasons there are 4, I will say them twice, no more. Number 1. This is the season of pretend, the game that seems to never end. I said number 1. That's the season of pretend, the game that seems to never end. Number 2, the season of discontent, where gloom and doom that experience sense. Number 2, season of discontent, a gloom and doom that experience sense. Number 3, the season of connection, hope and joy that too few mention. Number 3, season of connection, the hope and joy that too few mention. And number 4, you're not gonna believe number 4, but maybe you will. Number 4 is the season of on. Number 4 is the season of on. What's on? It's on faith. It's on love. It's on the power of God above. I said it's on faith. It's on love. It's on the power of God above. Now I need you to do something for me. Okay? Stand up, get on your feet. All right. Stand up, don't miss the beat. Now what we're gonna do here is the single shuffle, okay? All right, so grab somebody's hand at your table. Okay, all right. As you stand with your conference team, just wave your hands kind of freely. Yeah, all right. All right. I said, as you stand with your conference team, just wave your hands kind of freely. Now do a pause and take a step and just be sure the beat is kept. Oh, y'all looking good out there. Let me take my glasses off. Oh, yeah, y'all looking real good. All right. Do a pause and take a step and just be sure the beat is kept. Now we're gonna go through the 4 seasons one more time, okay? First, the season of pretend, the game that seems to never end. Y'all know that season? You know that season? Okay. Second, the season of discontent, the gloom and doom that experience sense. Oh, yeah. All right. 3, the season Oh, yeah. The hope and joy, the two of you mentioned. Oh, now you gonna join me on this fourth season now. Number 4, the season of on. Now join me. It's on. What's on? It's on faith. It's on love. It's on the power of God above. I said it's on faith. It's on love. It's on the power of God above. One more time. Okay. It's on faith. It's on love. It's on the power of God above. Okay. Now this side, y'all start. It's on faith. All right. Okay. Do it one more time for me. It's on faith. It's on love. It's on faith. It's on love. It's on faith. It's on love. It's on the power of God above. Oh, yeah. Give yourselves a hand. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Super. Super. Are you feeling a little bit alive tonight? Just a little bit. That's all I need. Just a little bit of aliveness. Okay. Oh, y'all want to shuffle some more? Oh, we can. We can. Oh, yeah, we can. Let me tell you about the season of pretend. In the season of pretend, I ain't to please and not to tease. Satisfaction guaranteed. And for acceptance and love, I give the moon and stars above. Oh, yeah. I give and give without end. I even to manage to satisfy the wishes of those passing by. Just pass by. Oh, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? All right. Yeah. I even manage to satisfy the wishes of those passing by. I walk on water. Walk 90 miles. Do anything for a smile. That's the season I pretend. And one thing that's real funny about, I'll pretend that things are fine so that you'll always be mine. I don't want to be by myself now. No. I play pretend so I can win the game of pretend. Yeah, that's how that one goes. Oh, yeah, now. I like this music, too, by the way. I don't know if you noticed. Yeah. In the season of discontent, I've forgotten what happiness meant. Gloom and doom is my middle name, but that's a problem I can change. It's a problem we can fix, 'cause we can do it in the mix. Aren't they mixing it up good, y'all? Yeah, let's give them a hand. All right, hope and joy is what I'm after, and maybe a little fun and laughter. The season of connectedness is what I crave and don't want to miss. No, don't want to miss that. And lastly, single man, single lady, aunt, uncle, daughter, son, look out, 'cause it's what? It's on, yeah. Join me, okay? All together. It's on faith, it's on love. It's on the power of God above. I said it's on faith, it's on love. It's on the power of God above. Thank you. I think we started that one off on a good foot. Don't you think so? All right. All right. Good. And this hat is hot. Take it off. All the wildness it got on the floor. How did that happen? Okay. It is really a very, very special joy to be here, and I love to surprise folks. I think I'm kind of good at it. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, you know what? This is a wonderful turnout, Lois. How did you do that? They did that. That's great. That's great. Because Lois would call me and she's like, and the attendance is at 100 at this point, and the attendance is at 102, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah. And I'm thinking, what different thing am I going to do, whether it's 99 or 125? What different thing am I going to do, you know? But what I like to do today, with my, how much time I got? 25 minutes. With my, it's not your fault, David. I ain't saying it's your, no, I ain't got no Max in the Cradle, but I got Dr. Seuss, okay? I got that, no. With my 25 minutes, what I like to do, because this is only takes a short time anyway, tell you the truth, because y'all know this already. What I like to do is talk a little bit about that season of pretend. Yeah, I want to talk today about that season of pretend, because it's really interesting. Sometimes it's easier to play pretend than to be real, isn't it? Yeah, it's a lot easier. And when Dr. Bugler there was talking about the season of God's intent, obviously God created real things, didn't he? I mean, it wasn't no pretend world and pretend people, you know, and pretend animals and pretend fish in the sea, you know, nothing like that. It was all real. And so when we look at that intent and this whole season of pretend that we experience, that game of pretend is sometimes kind of hard to siphon through, you know, because it's almost like talking to somebody that's got multiple personalities, you know what I'm saying? You know, somebody's got like 14 different personalities, and you call them on the phone and you're thinking, who am I talking to? I don't even know this person. Is this the same person I met at the conference? You know, I don't even know them. And it's very easy to do because you see, as people, a lot of times what people don't know about single folks is that we do have some kind of connectedness, but sometimes it's not as visible as folk can see. See, because everybody who is born into a family, okay, was not born there in isolation, wasn't hatched from an egg, and the basic activity of the family becomes the activity of connection. Sometimes that connection is disconnected, you know, and there's some distant relationships. Sometimes there's this cutoff where, oh, well, if you don't want anything to do with me, I don't want nothing to do with you either. You know, well, forget you. No, forget you. No, forget you. You know, no, I said first. No, I'm saying it back. Forget you. I don't need it. I don't need you. I don't need you in life, you know. And so there's that cutoff thing, and this basic activity of the family gets to be really, really interesting because what people do is they begin to adopt behaviors that will create a relationship that they think may be a safe place. See, now, we can even pretend everything cold. What's your name? What's your name? Matt? We can pretend everything cool. Now, I know, ain't nobody know about us, you see. But we gonna pretend everything cool. See, he said sure. He goes, sure. Now, you know, I ain't never saw you in my life, Matt. But we gonna pretend that everything's cool. See, and so it's that, sure, yeah, whatever, fine, you know. And it's easy to do. How come? How come it's so easy to play pretend? Well, you see, if I didn't pretend to have this best friend in the whole world, if I didn't pretend, you know, that, oh yeah, I got somebody, his name John, you know, and he lives in D.C., you know, always like 99,000 miles from where I live, you know, so nobody ever have to meet him, invite him over. Well, you know, he out of town, he like way out of town, like out of the world, out of town kind of thing, you know. And it gets to be very interesting. And this game of pretend kind of goes on even in just the littlest things, like waking up in the morning. You know, and you don't even have to think about it. You're just interacting with folks, and they start talking, and you start talking, but it gets kind of hard because it requires something of us, something that's extremely priceless, this game of pretend. And the thing that it requires that is just so precious is ourselves. You see, have you ever been in a situation where someone says, well, you know, Stephanie, you would be okay if, you know, you would only so and so and so and so. Have you ever been in that kind? Oh, just me, huh? I'm the only one. They always make me feel like I'm the only one. But, I mean, you never had a situation where somebody wanted you to be different. And somebody wants you to just change this little thing or do this little thing. Now, have you ever been in a situation where you said, well, he would be okay if only. I'm speaking in the he, you know, because I'm a she. I'm sorry, all right? And some guys, you know, they might, I don't know how guys, you know, I had two brothers, and they talked to me on occasion, but I still don't know really how fellas think. But I'm so sure that you guys are thinking to yourself, well, she would be a fine wife if only, you know, there wasn't Tom, Dick, and Harry in the picture or something like that. You know what I'm saying. And this thing about changing other folks is that whole pressure to change is so great that sometimes we try to adapt to it. Oh, that's me too. I'm the only one that does that. Yeah. But we try to adapt and change and all, but there is one interesting thing that happens with that. The more we change, the more they want us to change. And the more they want us to change, the more we change. I thought I was different. Well, exactly what did you mean? You know, when you said you didn't like it when I looked at you funny. Exactly what you mean. Tell me, you know, show me what my funny look looks like, and then show me what my regular look like, and you know, and we get trapped in that whole thing of trying to be concerned about what somebody is thinking that I'm thinking, that they're thinking, kind of thing. You know, well, I think that he thinks that I think that he, you know. And it's that whole thing that we get wrapped up in the game of pretend. And when you're playing it a while, now I'm not saying you play it all the time. Oh my gosh, that would be kind of hard to play it like every single breathing moment. What's that David, you say the heart has how many beats? 70 or 80 beats in life? Oh! Let's get the story straight, David. Okay, so we're talking about the 70 or 80 beats. I mean, every time your heart beats that you're playing pretend, boy, that would get kind of hard. But what we do is we seem to get in this whole cycle of adjusting ourselves, you see. And the more we adjust, the more this little piece of us that's lost. And the more we try to be what other people want us to be, the more of us that gets lost. Now, you see, it's interesting. When I walked in and saw the different colors of the leaves, and when I think of fall, I love fall. I love the season of fall, you know, with all the beautiful leaves. But you know what's so interesting about that? The same leaf can be one color one day and a different color the next day. What's up with that? You know, is that nature? See, and we are people born of nature, right? You know, born of those things that are real. And so, yeah, we have those potential to change colors, and sometimes those colors can be good. You know, we're changing and we're reaching into that potential that is us. Sometimes the colors we change, I mean, you know, if you want me to be red today, green tomorrow, then yellow the next day, wait a minute. You know, I don't know that I can adjust that fast, and should I adjust that fast? You see, in our craving for this actually it's kind of a natural sense of being a part of something, the activity of connectedness. Sometimes we do some sacrificing for that. And sometimes that sacrificing we do is not always healthy if it means losing ourselves in the process about, oh, I'm so glad this friend of mine isn't here because she'd be thinking I'm talking about her, which I am, you know. I got a call like about a month ago, and she's saying, well, you know, when we had this conversation, I said like all the things he would want me to say. I said it how he would want me to say it, you know, about the things I was dissatisfied with. I said exactly how he wanted me to say it. I said, you know, I'm just really not satisfied with you being gone all the time and only seeing me when it's convenient for your schedule. You know, that's what she told me. She said, and I told him in the way that he would want me to say it. And I said, run that by me one more time. You know, he would want you to say that? Well, what I mean was, you know, I was like calm, because he don't like for me to get upset. I was calm. I said in a low voice, because he don't like for me to get animated. And I talked in slow motion, because he don't like for me to talk fast. Because he said, I don't know what you're talking about, girl. You're talking too fast. Slow down. She said, I did all those things. I said, so you did all of those things. And then what was his response? She said, well, he just sat there. Not saying that you guys just sit there. I'm not saying that, Steve, okay? I'm not saying that. You know, it's not like a me and you thing here. You know, I'm not like a guys against the girls kind of thing here. I'm not saying that. Because, you know, you can come up and tell your story, too, you know, which is fine. But anyway, long story short, she told me all these things, and she said, well, he sat there. And I said, well, what happened after he sat there? She said, well, he just sat there some more. I said, well, did you say anything? She said, no, because it was his turn to say something. I already said what I had to say. I mean, do y'all like take the turns thing back and forth, you know, and you wait. Well, anyway, I said to her, well, you said exactly the way he wanted you to say it. And exactly what kind of a response did you expect? Because, you know, we expect responses. Well, I didn't know what her expectation was, you know. And she basically said, well, I really kind of expected that he would be pleased with the fact that I did do some things different. The fact that I was calm and talked in slow motion and told him, well, this is exactly what upsets me, instead of saying, I'm upset, you know. And she said all those things and expected him to respond differently. I said, so I said, well, what is it you expected him to say back? She said, well, I expected a little affirmation and understanding. I said, well, what would he have to have said so that you knew that you were getting that affirmation and support, blah, 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 blah? You know what she says to me? I don't know. You don't know? Well, how do you know that you didn't get what you expected if you don't? Well, I just know I didn't expect that. I didn't expect for him to sit there, you know. But, you know, here's a thing where folks are changing, and sometimes, you know, when we do our changing and being different, of course, we're doing it for a purpose, and what's the purpose? To be accepted, right? And when we're doing that changing, we do a little bit of something different. Probably the thing that is most frustrating is when folk don't notice. You know, they don't know. According to her, he didn't notice that she was doing this thing different. And I think the biggest thing that she wanted was acknowledgement. You see, but what was being set up there was an interesting little subtle little trap. I say trap, I can say trap, I can say whatever, you know. They don't have to invite me back. But the thing that was so interesting with that is that the more he didn't notice, the more different she tried to be. And the more different she tried to be, the more he didn't notice. And she's like, I'm just like going crazy here. I don't know what to do. I said, well, you worrying about all this what to do. What's wrong with just being? Just be, you know? Just be. Exactly, who are you anyway? Have you forgotten who you are? Have you forgotten the things that you value and the things you embrace and the things you hold dear? And there was a pause. And she didn't say nothing. Now, I didn't say to her, you ain't saying nothing, you know, because I didn't really expect any particular kind of response. And it's just so difficult for people to really come to realize that the more I change to be what other people want me to be, then it becomes even more difficult for me to be that real person that was created in God, with God. See, it becomes very difficult for me to be that real person that was formed in the palm of his hands long before I was ever born. Boy, that's some kind of real. You know that? That is some kind of real. And that real person gets challenged continually. And that season of pretend is not something that just happened one time. I believe that the season of pretend is there, you know. It's always there for us to just kind of like fake it, you know. That season of pretend is always there for us to just kind of like, oh, well, if I'm not fine, I'll just pretend everything's fine, you know. That season of pretend is always there that can enter some confusion into our hearts, too. You know what I'm talking about when I say confusion in our hearts? Well, when I think about confusion in our hearts, I'm thinking about that struggle between real and unreal. See, that struggle between, well, what do I value? You know, what have I been brought up to believe is real? What is my experiences like? How am I going to sort out what's real in my friendships? How am I going to sort out what's real in relationships? How am I going to sort out what's real that's just kind of bigger than me and larger than me? And larger than life, really, when you begin to think about it. You know, how do I sort out all these things? But the thing about that confusion that gets rooted in you in the season of pretend, if confusion gets rooted in you in the season of pretend, that's good. That's good? What do you mean? Oh, yeah, that's good. Because you see, confusion is helpful. I'm going to say it one more time. Confusion is helpful. You see, with that confusion, we come to acknowledge something. And we come to notice something. And we're not just kind of sitting there silent, you know, just playing pretend. With that confusion, that usefulness of that confusion, what we're doing is we are acknowledging that there's some real and some unreal inside of us. There's some real and some unreal dynamics in some of our relationships, maybe, or maybe just one. There may be some real and unreal in terms of how we feel about our families of origin, you know, the family we grew up in and so forth. And there may be some real and unreal. And this is like probably the most challenging part of all. Some real and unreal in some of those assumptions that our culture has about single folks, which I was joking about in the rap, you know. Some of those assumptions that folks have about single folks, and you're thinking to yourself, what's real and what's unreal, you know? Do I have a sexual identity crisis, you know? What's real or unreal? Do I have a problem? You know, what's real and unreal? And that probably one of the things that helps us with this confusion is that hopefully there is at least one element of realness that we know is real. And I don't even have to say what that is. See, because your heart can tell you that. I was watching Wizard of Oz, you know, 6-year-old niece, know what I'm saying? Okay, but your heart can tell you and make some distinctions about what's real. And the thing that I do know about what's real is that you're really here. All of you are here. And I do know that you have some real intents about participating in this conference and experiencing what this conference has to offer. And the other thing that I know that's real, that's so wonderful, is that when you came in, you already came in with something. You already came in with some gifts and some thoughts and some thinkings and some feelings of your own. And that's why I was asking for my time tomorrow, because hopefully in some of the activities and things that we'll do tomorrow, you'll have some opportunity to kind of showcase some of your own realness, you know, with some of the people that may be sitting next to you at your table or just in the room or whatever that is. But there is a certain realness, and I do know that it's very easy, extremely easy, to have that armor or that wall or that mask or things like that, because I don't know about you. How many people here know at least 2 other people here? Raise your hand. Oh, you know a lot more folks than I do. I know 3. No, I know 4. How many people know over 4 people? How many people know over 5? Oh. How many people know at least 1 person? How many people know nobody here? Yeah, see, we've got maybe a handful of people that know nobody here, see. And our challenge, if you choose to accept it. So I have to do my Mission Impossible thing, you know, I'm still like in that era, you know, is to be real. Do you have anything to lose on that? I mean, would you lose yourself if you were real? No, because you are necessary requirement in order to be real, so you won't be losing yourself. What else could you lose if you were real? Well, the folks that came didn't know anybody. Because, you know, the worst thing that can happen is to come to a conference, meet somebody, and it was a pretend person. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, oh, I didn't know. You know, you mean she was fronting the whole time. You know, I didn't know. And so that's a really big one, because that's kind of a lifetime challenge in a way. But that's one of the things that we're going to do, and I am watching the time. You know, one of the things that if you ever was a teacher or experienced teachers is I am a teacher, and one of the things I learned to do well is like look at my watch like this. You know, like I really didn't look at it, but I looked at it, and like I'm doing all this, you know, I'm watching the time. You know, and I will get you out for lunch on time. But let's just kind of carry this like one more step, because my watch is fast, so I know we got at least, 7, 8 more minutes? Something like that? Yeah. Huh? Whoa, she goes 7 minutes. I knew exactly how fast my watch was. Yeah. So, you know, as we go take this thing one step further, I want to tell you this story about Jack and Jill, because it's kind of interesting. Now, it's nothing like the feather father freak. Was that the story? Okay. Well, see, this thing with Jack and Jill, both Jack and Jill wanted to be wanted. Okay. So, in order for Jack to get Jill, see, he pretended to want her. And in order for Jill to get Jack, she pretended to want him. So the more Jack pretended to want her, the more she pretended to want him. Now they're both pretending, playing this game of pretend with each other. And the more they play this game of pretend, the more the game goes on and on and on. And of course, the more the game goes on, the more they pretend, because like when you're caught in that game, I mean, it's like, well, you go first. No, you. No, you go first. And it's really hard for one person to kind of break out and to be this real person, because, you know, when you play a game, there are rules. You know what I'm saying? There are rules. And the first rule is you follow the rules. Know what I'm saying? You follow the rules. And then the second rule is that when you play the game, you play a 1 and I play a 2, or whatever the thing is. You know, each person has to be a player. And in the story of Jack and Jill, we've got player 1, player 2. Player 1 is the great pretender, and player 2 is a pretender too. But she don't call herself that. She calls herself real. Because she pretending to be real. Isn't that interesting? How can you pretend to be real? See, because I know as soon as I said be real, some of y'all are thinking, well, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that, so I just pretend to be real. You know. Because some folks do that. You know, I could be doing that. I love to play pretend. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. But you got these players who are playing, and we got the first rule is follow the rules. The second rule is you got to have player 1, player 2 at least. And the third rule, which gets to be kind of cumbersome, is that there are no rules for changing the rules. And since there are no rules for changing the rules, what does that mean if you're one of the players? That you're going to be stuck in this one season your whole life? Is that what that means? No. If there are no rules for changing the rules, and you understand, when we're talking about this game playing thing, this game of pretend, when we're talking about rules, the rules are not made by God anyway, huh? And so if there are no rules for changing the rules, that's not God's intent, David. So if there was a rule for changing the rules, which we know there is, it means that we have to step out of the game. We got to step out of the game and reach towards something different. And I don't need to tell you what something different is, because you knew that when you walked in. See? I don't even need to tell you what the different rule is. I don't need to tell you what the rule is for changing the rule, because that's something you can figure out. You can figure that out on your own. But those are the three, you know. There are rules, there are players, and there are no rules for changing the rules. That's what folks would have you believe. And if you buy into that, you'd be a little bit like that parakeet David talked about at the beginning. What was he? Sucked in, washed out, and blown over? Yeah, that's what the no rule for changing the rules can do to you. You know? Because that little parakeet felt powerless under the hand of that owner. But the thing that gets to be really kind of interesting is that God shares his power with us. Well, he'd have to. If we were created in his own image, wouldn't that make sense? And how can we be empowered anyway if we had no power? How's that possible? Well, I could go on and on. But I won't, David. He my friend, you know, have a little forgiveness in the heart, you know what I'm saying? But I am really looking forward to this conference. I'm going to tell you something. When Karen called me last year, it was really the very first time, although I've been doing this like over 10 years or so, it was really the very first time I had like almost a year in advance notice. See, they didn't know what I could do within a year in advance notice. You know, they thought they were saved, you know, I'd be conventional. Do I look conventional to y'all? Excuse me, hello. But I don't have any more time on the agenda today, but I'm going to have an hour and a half or so with you guys tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to us really getting into some stuff about this seasons thing. And I want to thank you very much and have a good rest of the day. Get this microphone right now. It's good to be with you again today. And I better go ahead and say something quick because I see some people picking up the toothpicks and doing things with them. All the tables should have some index cards and some toothpicks. And we're not going to get to it right away, but we will get to it within the time span we have today. That is within the next hour and a half. And the only thing that I ask, when we get to the toothpick activity, sometimes I forget to say this, but I'm going to say it now. Whatever it is I ask you to do with them, please do not bend, break, or mutilate them at any time. Okay? That's just one rule we're going to have on that. Where I'd like to start today is to kind of pick up from yesterday. And remember the 4 seasons that I have in mind were the season of pretend, the season of discontent, and not the season of rap, not the season of rap, the season of connectedness, and then of course that 4th season is the season of on, which we'll get to that tomorrow. So today, what I'm going to do is be kind of teacherish today. And we're going to talk about the seasons of discontent and the season of connectedness. Now, in regard to the seasons of discontent, really, when I think about that, I'm saying to myself generally, by the way, there are a lot of people that were saying to me, exactly what do you do in the real world? You know? I am a teacher, but before I was a teacher, actually I still am a therapist and a family therapist at that, and have been doing counseling for quite a number of years, 10 years actually, and then went from doing a therapy to teaching people and training therapists to be. And as a therapist, the thing that's so interesting is naturally, when families or couples or individuals too sometimes would come in, they would have the feeling that they were in their season of discontent because obviously if everything was fine, they would have no use to come in. Now, the interesting thing about that, when people come in to a therapist or to counseling, sometimes, however, it's not the individual or the actual, people there that think they're the one with the problem. Usually when an individual comes in, they're coming in because they are dissatisfied with somebody else in their life. And they want you to help them to change that other individual who's not in the room. That's basically how that whole thing works. And so when we look at the discontent, it becomes real interesting because really that whole spectrum of relationships becomes for us our world. Okay? That the relationships that we have and the connectedness or the disconnectedness that is there becomes for us our world. And that discontent is an interesting thing because as I reflected on that, I'm saying to myself, what general pattern have I seen when people are discontent? And as you know, there are like a variety of ways to be what we call unhappy, frustrated, miserable, upset. There's a lot of ways that can happen. There are a lot of situations, a lot of different kinds of involvements that can happen with that. But in terms of a general pattern or a general theme, I've said to myself often, if I could pinpoint what's happening, what would it be? What would it be? And for me, I've basically kind of come up with not just one thing, actually. I've come up with several things, and I'm going to kind of share less than a handful with you. One of those things is the whole experience of connecting with what has happened to be unreal. You see, when we make a connection to the unreal, that brings discontent. For example, you know, it's like when you have this thought that things are going along fine, and you have this thought that you really do know this individual, and you have all kinds of thoughts about the image, and sometimes we put more stock in the image that we have of the other person than what's really there, and then it can get kind of frustrating, to say the least, when we are not connecting to what's real. And sometimes it's very, very hard to know what's real because it depends. And it depends on a whole lot. See? And the whole lot it depends on is not just us, because we are not the only thing that's real in this world. You know, there are other things that are real too, and the question is now, how do we sort out, again, that real from the unreal? And I don't know about you, but I'm a big movie watcher. Or do you all watch movies? Or some of you watch movies? Well, one of the movies, yeah, wonderful. You know, I'm going to get to this movie thing right away because, you know, they set up the screen for me. They got this projector thing for me. And I'm the kind of person that can go on and get into activities. And, oh, my goodness, you know, I just got a few minutes left. I'm going to squeeze this in. Well, this movie that I have here, and I don't know, how many of you saw Forget Paris? Oh, okay. Some of you did. Actually, I would have expected a lot of you to have seen the movie, but if you didn't, that's fine. Now, I saw some hands over here that saw it. Would you come up just for a minute? Just for a minute. She's like, oh my God, I never should have raised my hand and said I saw the movie. And see, who else? Now, see, now when when I ask who saw the movie, watch what happens. Who else saw the movie? See, oh yeah, only two more people saw it now. You see how that happens? I just wanted to show, and see, I'm not going to even ask you to do anything. Okay. I just wanted to make a point. You know, it's like, oh, well, if I got to do something, I didn't see the movie. Okay, just go on and sit down. But the movie I have here in the VCR is Forget Paris. And for those of you who did see the movie, you might remember that basically the two main characters are Mickey and Ellen. Is that right? You remember Mickey and Ellen? And it's interesting because they kind of go back and forth in terms of trying to connect with what's real. I'm going to just kind of put it that way. And basically what happens is the movie starts out where, of course, Billy Crystal plays Mickey, and he is trying to gets his father back to France to bury his father, and he doesn't have a really good relationship with his father, and they lose the casket, they do all kinds of things with it, you know, and of course this lady Ellen has this huge management job with this major airline in France, and so he finally finds his way to her office to complain. You know, this is his season of discontent because not only did he not like his father, he definitely didn't like the fact that they lost his father, and he's got to spend these more days in France to bury the man, blah, 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 blah. And so essentially what happens, she, you know, makes sure he gets this free ticket back to the U.S., and they're at the airport, and he's saying goodbye, and she's saying goodbye. And you know those moving sidewalks that they have? Well, he was going this way. Now he goes back this way and says, oh, you know what? I've never been to France before. I think I'll just stay a few more days. So they have like this romantic week, right? And so he goes home, and then she's there, and he's miserable, and she's miserable. And then he flies back to France to see her. She's like, what are you doing here? And they visit for a while. and then he goes back. Now, see, his job in the U.S. is he's a referee. He's a basketball referee for the NBA, you know, and so he's refereeing people like, oh goodness, Isaiah Thomas and, you know, all those kinds of guys. Well, actually, Michael Jordan isn't in the movie, but Patrick Ewing and what other basketball people? Huh? Oh, yeah, Magic Johnson and things like that. So now listen to what I'm saying. See, he's a basketball referee for the NBA. Now, what basketball referee do you know that's always home 12 months out of the year? No, that's a road job, right? That's a road job. But during that week, she falls in love with him, blah, 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 and they, blah, 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 that's right. Fill in the blanks. And anyway, they have some kind of a connection, and so she really likes him basically because he's this cute little referee that makes her laugh, you know, makes her laugh, and so she always wants to be with him because he makes her laugh. And so what she does, and this is really kind of a surprise when you watch the movie the first time, which indicates I've watched it more than once. But what the surprise is that she leaves this big management job with this major airline in France, and she comes to the U.S. and just shows up at his door one day. Okay, so where we're going to tune in at this point is really where they have decided that. Oh, I forgot one major point. real major point is that when he was in France. When he came back to France to visit her, you know, after the rendezvous thing, he said to her, "Will you marry me? I love you. Will you marry me?" And she just looks at him and says, "I can't." She said, "You can't? What do you mean?" She says, "Well, I'm already married." And he's totally shocked because he's thinking, for 2 months I've known you, and you told me you have 5 brothers with big ears and all these kinds of things, and you miss one little tiny detail like I'm married, all right? So you can imagine his season of discontent, right? Because he's thinking he's connecting with something that's available or someone who's available, you know? And so his reality is that she was available, but, you know, the reality is she wasn't. So when you see the part you're going to see, basically what's happened, oh, thank you, Bob. Basically what's happened at this point is that not only did she leave her job, she also divorced the person she was married to, and they've decided that they're going to try to live this life together and be committed to each other. And so she comes to the U.S., and of course, since he already lives in the U.S., she, you know, they get married, and she moves into his place. Okay? Now, as you watch this, I'm not going to tell you what you should see or what you shouldn't see. Okay? But just kind of think of this entire theme we're starting out right now in terms of the season of discontent, and then the whole idea of connecting to real versus unreal, and how that seems to be the barometer. What? Oh, that's all I know. How that seems to be kind of the barometer for our emotional thermostat, if you will. Okay, push play. Thanks.
Things just weren't comfortable anymore.
Things just weren't comfortable anymore. It sounded like you guys are saying, why don't we just watch the movie? Does she really have to talk now? Yeah, things weren't just comfortable anymore, and we always know that when things aren't comfortable anymore. I think what I like to do, though, before I move on, if at your tables in groups of 2 or 3 or something, just one thing I want you to do with each other is just kind of chit-chat. Chit-chat. Yeah, guys, chit-chat too. about what it is you saw in the scenes. Just kind of process that. What it is you saw, because you'll be surprised at the differing perceptions of what you all saw, even differing perceptions within the same gender people. Okay, so just kind of do that for about 2-3 minutes. Just what did you see when you watched the scenes? Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Do we have any groups who are willing to share? No. No. Okay, here. Not necessarily, if I can. You can just come to this point, anybody who wants to share. Go ahead.
Our group talked about how there was like no communication. They didn't understand the nonverbals that the other one was giving. And even though they were on different schedules, they could have worked towards it, which is the basis of the non-communication problem.
Okay, let me challenge you all for just a bit. What nonverbals did they not pick up on? Just think about it. You can have a minute to think about it and reach an agreement. Anybody else? Oh, okay, come on up.
Well, there was a lot of dishonesty. There was a lot of dishonesty in their relationship. After all, she didn't.
Here, I think most of the people are on this side.
She did not know. She did not let him know that she had been married, so there was a lot of dishonesty there.
From the beginning.
From the beginning. And also the relationship was not really based on mutual compatibilities or anything. It was more on, on maybe a lust or something. She thought he was a cute referee. So it really was not based on anything solid. No Christ in their life or religious morals or anything.
Quite good. Thank you very much. All right. Anybody else? Yes, come on. Maybe we can go this way for you. Maybe we can go this way. Yeah.
They didn't spend time together and give each other the time to understand that they were who they were. They didn't work on who they were individually, and be comfortable with that, and then come together and spend a year in a committed relationship before to that final commitment of marriage, to know that she was really going to miss him when he was gone to the basketball games, and she couldn't stand that. And had they spent the time before the marriage to get to know that, it probably would have been easier for them to come to a compromise and to do that communicating.
Thank you very much, Diane. All right, any others? Oh, yes, come on. It is about as far as we can go. And you are, I forgot to have you all introduce yourselves when you came. That was Diane, and you were Stephen and Renee. Okay, and this is Rod. Rod, okay.
I sense that they didn't see any value in the relationship, and I wondered why they even bothered to get together. And that's the biggest thing I saw there.
Okay, now I'm going to challenge your group too. In regard to this value in the relationship, what would they need to have said or done to reflect that there was value in the relationship? I mean, what kind of a message would people need to get other than the surface, I love you? What kind of behavioral things would have needed to happen to show that there was value in the relationship? That's you all's challenge, okay? I wish I could have challenged the others, but I couldn't find any loophole. Okay, anyone else? No one else? No one else? Okay, and I'm going to get you in a bit. Karen, is your name pronounced the same as mine?
Yeah, I just pronounce it Karen.
Karen.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my other sister, Karen. All
You're a
right,
little taller,
go
you're a
ahead.
little taller.
Okay.
I was hearing a lot of negatives, but I saw a couple of people that really were trying. They were trying different steps. It's like, she's thinking, okay, the marriage can't work because she's over there in Paris, so she gives up her job and comes over here, and that was a step. Granted, in a kind of a make-believe, well, then everything's going to be perfect, okay? And I think we all fall into that. Well, if we just do this, and everything's going to be perfect. And then, okay, and she did. She does really give it an honest try. And it's like, okay, this is not working. She realizes that. And then, so then he takes a step because he cares about the relationship. And once again, it's an honest try. And it's just, once again, it's that give and take. And that's the compromise that you have to find in a relationship, adaptability.
Okay, I appreciate that perspective very much. All right. Come on up. You had a thought from your group. Yeah, remember this was our brave one that walked up in the beginning. And you guys didn't know it was just a kind of a trick of mine, just to see how many folks were going to have watched the movie now that they thought they had to come up. This is Peggy. Peggy from Indiana. Okay.
If you did that with children, they all would have wanted to come up. They're not shy. The only thing I was thinking when you even said this movie, I said, oh, this is a perfect example of the pretend stuff, because they were pretending with each other to get what they thought would make the relationship work. He was pretending that he could do the Subaru sale thing for her, and she was pretending for him, and that's all.
Okay. All right, good. Good. Any other folks? Now, see, I'm going to be good. I'm not going to call on anybody. I'm not going to do that. Well, let me go back to our first group. Do you all remember what your challenge was? The nonverbal pain? Did you come up with something? What did you see that gave you clues about the nonverbal communication? Oh, no, she came up before. We got to have a new representative from the group. Not sure. You want to say? Okay, go ahead, so we can move on. All
The
right.
one thing that he had mentioned was like when the toothpaste ran out and he was crying, or different things like that. She sat on the couch all the time eating ice cream. Everyone did give you a clue that someone's unhappy. Just they had so many. They had so many different things that could have given you clues that the other person was unhappy. As I said, the nonverbals, these different examples.
Okay, that was good. Let's see. And then we got got one other group to follow up on in terms of the value in the relationship. Did you guys get a chance to come up with something on that? You don't have to come up. Someone else can. Oh, you guys, I tell you. See, this is what you call roles. You know, like somebody has the role of the one who gets up and says things, and the other has the role of just sitting there and letting him. Okay.
Well, that's all right. Well, by value, what I meant was that they always seem to have things that were more important other than their relationship, like their jobs or, buying $1,400 baseball game sets or, that sort of thing. And there was other things that they always thought were more important, and they just didn't seem to think that, each other's presence was important, and just being able to work with each other and learn about each other.
Okay, great. What we have here is a very interesting collage of perspectives when you think about it, okay? Because we have some people that picked up on nonverbals, folks that picked up on value. We have people that picked up on what it is they did do. We have some folks picked up what it is they didn't do. Now, when we look at this collage, it's a very interesting thing because what we have here is like kind of a contradictory picture, if you will, all right? And what I mean by that, we have some people that really did kind of two things at once, two opposite kinds of things. The first thing that we did see, of course, in the beginning was this whole romance thing, which you didn't need to really see. I just take it for granted that's what happened. And there's this kind of a certain pretend that goes with that, in which you will just kind of do whatever, whatever your little heart desires, that's what I'm going to do. And then on the other hand, you see people who are in like this sacrificial mode. She gives up the job in France to come. He gives up the refereeing to come. And sometimes you see, when we do make that sacrifice, we're saying to ourselves, well, wait a minute, I've given this up, so you should be happy, and I should be happy now. Because look at all that I've sacrificed in order to make this happen. So she comes from France thinking, look at all that I've sacrificed to make this happen. Not only should you be happy, I should be happy too. And since I'm not happy, I dare you not notice that I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Shouldn't you be doing something? So he gives up his refereeing. He bursts out into tears as he's brushing his teeth, and he's thinking to himself, I've given up all of this for you, and not only should you be happy, I should be happy, and since I'm not happy, I dare you not notice that I'm not happy. You see, and so we have this collage of where people are sacrificing on the one hand, but on the other hand, there are real needs that need to be met. And at the very last scene there, actually we have the billiard scene where he's talking to the guys, and he's saying he basically did feel like he wanted some part of his life to be the same. He still wants some of Mickey to still be there. And then we have the scene where she's talking, to her friend, and she's saying, well, I don't know who I am anymore. What becomes extremely challenging, see, in this, what we call the season of discontent, is to try to be connected and separate at the same time. You see, that's the ultimate paradox in life, is that we are born into the world, usually, in the most normal cases, one of us is born at a time as far as coming out of the womb. One person, comes out, and there's one. But at the same time, there's a connectedness, like an emotional connectedness that is there. Sometimes that emotional connectedness from the beginning is healthy, and then sometimes it's not, in cases where people are neglected or something like that. But the ultimate paradox is being connected and separate at the same time. Now, people find a lot of ways to try to deal with this paradox. What some people do is we've got two extremes. We've got the extreme of separateness, and we've got the extreme of connectedness, okay? The extreme of separateness, it basically goes like this, that in order for me to be my own person, I can't be connected with anybody. See? The extreme of separateness is kind of like that Tracy Chapman tune, Give Me One Reason. Have you all heard that? You know, where she says, I don't want nobody to hug me. I might have to give up my life. I think there's a verse in there that goes a little something like that, you know. And that's the kind of the extreme of separateness. In order for me to be, quote unquote, my own person, well, I don't know. I'm kind of cautious about all of this connected stuff. And anyway, you know, as a guy joked on the movie, well, sometimes that can be kind of a miserable thing because everybody wants you to change. You know, everybody wants you to be that perfect person they want you to be. On the other end of the spectrum, when we have this extreme of connectedness, it gets real interesting. That extreme of connectedness basically says, not only do I think you should be with me, I think you should be with me all the time. I mean all the time, not just every day. I mean 24 hours. You know, just let me cling to you. Jeff, let me show them how this works. Bless your heart. You're such a good sport. See, when we're talking about clinging, a lot of times when people get to that extreme of connectedness, they kind of join like this, where we're going to put our feet, yeah, kind of like that. And then they think, well, we should be of the same mind, and we're going to put our head like this. And then they're thinking, we're just going to walk through life just hand in hand and be so happy. Let's walk. See, and that's a very extreme place to be. But you see, when we look at the kinds of connectedness that become more healthy, that can lead us into a season of, out of a season of discontent and into a season of connectedness, that's very different. Now you can see, I don't know if you all can see, you see how we're joined hands here? Now, are we connected or disconnected at this point? Yeah, there is a kind of connectedness, and it's very interesting because if I wanted to twirl, oh my goodness, did I twist your arm? I think I twisted his arm when I twirl. I can move. If we want to walk, we can walk, and if you want to do a backflip, he's like, I'm ready to sit down now. Excuse me. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. That's wonderful. But you see, this challenge of being both separate and connected is really difficult, and actually, it's an ongoing challenge. It's an ongoing challenge in which we basically actively participate in what I'm going to call, a lot of people call it problem solving, but that's not what I'm going to call it. What I'm going to call it is solution building. And to kind of demonstrate what it is this is about, at this point what I want you to do is kind of take the toothpicks. Take the toothpicks. And the groups that you were in, if you were in 2 or 3, what I'd like you to do is just choose 6 toothpicks for your small group. Just choose 6 toothpicks for your small group. 6. Choose 6. Done that? Okay. Chose 6 toothpicks. Now this is what I'd like for you all to do. Now does everybody have enough toothpicks on their table to have chosen 6 for their small group? Yes. Okay. Now, this is what I'd like for you to do. Is now, of course, you're gonna work together on this now. What I'd like for you to do is create 4 equilateral triangles with the 6 toothpicks and with the 6 toothpicks only. Okay? Create 4 equilateral triangles with the toothpicks and with the toothpicks only.
I don't think she wants us to work individually. I think that's the point. Yes. I think that's cheating, Jack. I can see that you're a problem creator. But you always like in the corner and
And his mind's really working
look,
hard on that.
he's getting it. Yeah, see, there's something like that. How many do we have?
1, 2, 3.
6? 4. We got it. Very good. We trust you. Don't you feel proud that we trust you so much to let you come up with a solution? Let the camera get our picture. We were the first. We are good. Yeah, he wants to get us. Here, fan away.
Once you feel like you did it.
Okay. If it's not right, it's just. She's still working on hers.
Four triangles and 4 triangles only.
Oh no, I have 4 times.
We're done. We're good. That's why you got them. Cheater.
Okay, you got one more minute. Some people are still working, I think. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Self-centered. Um, I'll work that in, okay? I'll, I'll find a way to work that in. I'll find a way to work that in, and you'll see. You got 6. Yeah. Okay. Hey. Okay. 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 All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. 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 All right. All right. Well, I got a few more minutes left. I got a few more minutes to. Hey. Okay. All right. Okay.
See, we're all making them. We've been waiting here for 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay, we're going to move on. Now, I walked around to the table. It was really interesting because people were like, did we pass? But you know what I'm most interested in? That's good, that's good. Well, actually, everybody's looked really good. Now, I don't know if you know this, if you were maybe at a table with just a few people, but actually, what we saw were multiple solutions that happened when I said create 4 equilateral triangles. I believe I saw at least about 6 different solutions, believe it or not, as I walked around. There were some people that had the 3-dimensional triangle. Let me see if because that's one of the ones that I did. Hold on just a minute. There were some people that had a 3-dimensional triangle that looked a little bit like this, where it was like a pyramid type. There are some people that had like a Star of David type of thing where, there were 4 triangles among the 6 there. There were some people who kind of took it and made like 2 huge triangles, like one was upside down and the other was front side up type of thing. And well, there were just multiple solutions. And that's what I want to say, is that whenever we're presented with something, it's interesting. When we look at the process of how that happened, I want to ask you all, did anybody create the solution by their lonesome? Do we have anybody out there that did that? Now, if you did, let us know so we can put you in the pokey later. Yeah, no hands. But usually, believe it or not, when we engage ourselves in solution building, it does require us to be somewhere on that separate connected continuum. And sometimes when we're on that continuum that's way separate, that extreme, it becomes even more difficult to come up with a variety of options. And guess what? When we are at that extreme of connectedness, where you saw Jeff and I, we were just so extreme, it's difficult to come up with a variety of options. When we are free to move and free to think and get ideas from others, it becomes helpful. Now, the thing with the ideas from others, though, is kind of a challenge. Because is it that you are connecting with other people so that they can tell you how to run your life? Doesn't look like that's it. No. But when we do this connection, somebody, as I went around to the tables, they're still on the movie, believe it or not, and said, well, now, don't you think that the problem, though, with both of them is that they were self-centered? Now, let's think about that concept when we think about the separateness and the connectedness. and how towards the end, they were all trying to do a little bit of sacrificing, and what it ended up is that they would lose themselves for a while. They would give up something that was really something that was special and important to them. They would give it up for a little while, but when they gave it up, they did not know who they were when they were in the relationship. You see, and so the big question is, how do we retain that whole sense of self and be emotionally and healthily connected to someone else? And as you all engage in the solution building activities with using the toothpicks, did one of those toothpicks just kind of disappear in the process as you were doing your puzzle thing? Did one of them disappear? They were all 6 still present, huh? Yeah. And what gets kind of interesting is that when we engage in solution building as far as our relationships, sometimes this is what happens. I'm going to tell you what happens, and it happens sometimes in the company of very, very well-meaning people. And that is, we have an equation of 1 + 1. But what happens is that we have one who is coming for help, and we always have somebody out there usually that wants to be helpful to us. Sometimes, wants to be helpful, and sometimes that person that wants to be helpful is the church. And when we have that 1 + 1, what happens in this equation that's very interesting is that it equals me. Let me explain that. When we talk about being connected, sometimes 1 + 1 equals me, meaning my needs are the most important, my needs are this and that. You should really be like me. You should be married like me. Oh, by the way, no, I'm not married. But you should be married like me. You should think about life the way I do. You should really value that whole idea of marriage. You should value that whole idea of procreation and children and blah, blah, blah. And you should really, if you watch the movie The Lion King, they talk about taking your place in the circle of life kind of thing. And so when we have that equals me at the end of it, that can get very uncomfortable. Because guess what? You are not me. And of course, teenagers will tell you that all the time. You're not me. You're not the boss of me. They would always say that. But really, when you think about the whole idea and process of being connected, when 1 + 1 equals me, what we have is a very interesting power play that goes on. And let me break that down. In all relationships, there's some element of power. When you brought up the self-centeredness before, and I won't point out who said that or anything like that, because obviously they just wanted to tell me, not the group. But actually they wanted to tell the group through me. I think that's how that worked. But what we have is that whole power thing, and what it is like what it is I think should happen, and what it is you think should happen. What it is I think you should do, and what it is you think I should do. What it is I think you should be, what it is you think I should be. Where it is I think you should be is really with me all the time. And then where it is you think I should be. Did y'all hear all those shoulds in there? See, all of that shoulding, it can be very uncomfortable. So what I'm going to ask you to do, because I believe I have 7 minutes left, something like that. Magic 7. What I'd like for you to do at this point is to just take one of those index cards from your table. Each of you should have at least one. at least one of those index cards. And with a pen or pencil, this is what I like for you to do. On one side, write comfortable. And on the other side, write uncomfortable. Okay. Now, what I like for you to do is just kind of, you can start on whichever side you want, but what I like for you to do is just kind of jot down, okay? Jot down, and this might be a kind of a challenge really. Jot down 2 key critical elements, factors that you see as most important for you when you are comfortable in a relationship. When you are comfortable in a relationship, what 2 major key critical elements, factors, dynamics exist in that relationship when you are comfortable? When you are comfortable. What needs to be there? It's challenging. It's the top 2. And then, of course, on the uncomfortable side, just jot down what you would see as the 2 of the things, elements, factors, dynamics that would make you very, very uncomfortable in a relationship. Uncomfortable. Okay. Now, as you're doing that, the only thing I want you to add is an M if you're a male. Put an M on the card somewhere if you're a male, and an F somewhere on that card if you're female. I'm gonna use that information for tomorrow. So just put an F on there if you're female, and an M if you're male. You can put it anywhere on the card, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay. Now, as I wrap up, because I know I got maybe at least 3 minutes or so. As I wrap up, I want to say that when we think about the 2 seasons we have the season of discontent and the season of connectedness. Essentially, they are 2 sides of the same coin. The same coin. Because you see that discontent is a kind of a disconnection. There's been a disconnection somewhere. Maybe the disconnection is that we plugged into something that was unreal. Maybe the disconnection is that I don't have any kind of power. I don't have any kind of influence in terms of what happens. Maybe the disconnection is that I don't think that the other person really does pay attention to whether I seem happy or not, or upset or not, or sad or not. And you know what? An interesting thing with this season of discontent, and I mean, we all know this, but it's like in the season of discontent, we want other people to have radar. You know? Pick up on my vibes, okay? Do I look happy to you? You know? Pick up on the fact that I don't seem as perky today? Why don't you please pick up on the fact that I don't really seem interested in talking about the Cleveland Indians right now? You know, oh, I know that's like a sacred thing here in Cleveland. You know, why don't you pick up on this? But what's so interesting is we expect all the other folks to have radar, you know, in our little paradox of separateness and connectedness. And with their radar, they're supposed to pick up on it and then do what else with it? Once they pick up on it, what exactly are they supposed to do once they pick up on it? Huh? Act on it. And the thing that's really interesting, when we expect them to act on it, they say, well, what do you want me to do? And you know what most often is the response when folks say, well, what do you want? What do you want me to do? What is the response most often is what the other one doesn't want them to do. Yeah. What I don't want you to just kind of sit there on the couch all the time. You know, I don't want you to just get so busy like you act like I don't exist anymore. I don't want you to blah, 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 blah. Oh, wow. You know why? It's easy to talk about what it is we don't want because we get in the pattern of doing that anyway. We're used to that. See, that's all part of the pattern. And this whole connectedness, really connectedness are those things that we're saying yes to. And in order to say yes, we have to begin to talk about what it is we do want. You know, when you act on my upsetness, when you act on, you know, me seeming to have copped out on everything that seems to be important, when you act on it, then I must have some idea in mind of what it is I do want. And that's kind of hard sometimes for us, especially if we've, you know, been in the world 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and we know real good and well what it is we don't want. You know, and what it is that upsets us. So what I want you to do is, if you would, just kind of leave the cards there on the table and the toothpicks on the table, and I'll come around and collect it after you go to lunch and everything. And I want to thank you once again for your participation in that. I told you weren't going to be just sitting there. You're going to have to do something. And guess what? You're going to have to do something tomorrow, too, but it'll be a little different something. It'll be a little different something you'll do tomorrow. But thank you again, okay? At the conference, the final day, you're waiting for last things to say. Well, to your surprise and wonder and eyes, you're saying, holy cow, what's she doing now? Oh, yeah. So just sit back, because before we're through, we're going to see the seasons in review. First, the season of pretend, the game that seems to never end. Second, the season of discontent, when we've forgotten what happiness meant. The season when we sacrifice, strive, and lend. We forget Paris. We forget ourselves. We struggle in a paradox where want and don't want are in the same box. Third, the season of connectedness, we plug into realness. We join together and freely move. Hey, where's that guy I freely moved with yesterday? Is he here? Is he in the house? If he is in the house, he's going to say, oh, no, I'm here. Okay. We join together and freely move. We claim our life and ourselves we don't lose. And the fourth season, it's the season we're going to celebrate today. That's the season of, you quick learners, that's wonderful, all right. where we belong. It's on the courage that we bring. It's on knowing, oh no, not knowing everything now, but it's on knowing who we are when there's a we. All right, let me run that by you one more time. Just sit back, because before we're through, we'll glance at the seasons in review. First, the season of pretend, the game that seems to never end. Okay. Second, the season of discontent, when we've forgotten what happiness meant. All right. These guys are good, aren't they? Yeah. No, we're not through. That don't mean you through. Okay. In the season of discontent, we sacrifice, strive, and live. We forget Paris. We forget ourselves. We struggle in a paradox with want and don't want in the same box. All right. Third, the season of connection, we plug into realness. We join together and freely move. We claim ourselves. We claim our lives. And ourselves, we don't lose. And fourth, it's the season of on. And what's it on? It's on faith, it's on love, it's on the power of God above. We say it's on faith, it's on love, it's on the power of God above. It's on the things that make us strong. It's on the places where we belong. It's on the courage that we bring. No, not because we know everything. It's knowing who we are when there's a we. Now that we've reviewed the seasons, there remains really one question on reason. Now that we've reviewed the seasons, there remains one question on reason. Now, for those of you who seem a little nice, I'll present the question twice. Does single have a cause or reason, or is it just a time, a season? Let me repeat that for you one more time. Does single have a cause or reason, or is it just a time, a season? In response to this question, I will answer with a lesson. Gotta be Grandmaster Case for this one. Living single is a life, despite any stresses or strife. Let me say that one more time. Living single is a life, despite any emphasis on strife. Yes, it's different, but who isn't? It's finally time to validate the life God gave. No debate. All right? It's finally time to validate the life God gave. No debate. Value the worth inside, and from that worth, do not hide. Value the worth inside, and from that worth, do not hide. And guess what? There's nothing to be waiting on, because what we know is it's already on. And what's it on? It's on faith, it's on love, it's on the power of God above. We're saying it's on faith, it's on love, it's on the power of God above. Oh, yeah. Just a minute, let me tell him something. All right, you ready to do this thing? It's so good to see all y'all back. You know, I came in like 7 minutes before 9 o'clock, and there are like 7 people here. And I'm saying, okay. But you know what? If I wasn't on at 9 a.m., I'd probably be strolling in at 9 a.m. So I can't say nothing. Nah, I can't say nothing. What I like to do, you know, this is our season of on. It's always wonderful to have some kind of on, some kind of perk, some kind of up, you know, before you go your separate ways. And yesterday I learned that we were from 23 states, and then yesterday I learned that we have some people here, or at least 1 or 2 people here, that are from Canada. Yeah, so that's just pretty wonderful. So we got some continental representation, it seems. Yes. With this onness, you know, one of the things that's so wonderful is to be on and to have this place to belong and to feel that faith and love and power of God. It's a wonderful thing because really through Christ we have a voice. Now, not that we have to sing, but we have a voice that brings us power and everything that can help us connect to each other in ways that are very special. And what I have here are some voices, believe it or not. And they are your voices. And they are voices that are not just statistical things. They are voices that not just list the frequency of this response, that response. But what we're going to do with these voices is, well, somebody said to me, they said, Karen, you know, it would be really interesting to see who wrote comfortable on the side with no lines. You know, they say it'd be really interesting to see who wrote comfortable on the side with lines, but just turn the car vertical. You know, because they're going to do their own thing. Well, for those of you who are interested in that, wait a minute, we had 29 male respondents, 61 female respondents. And one of the things that's so interesting is that we had 4 guys write comfortable on the blank side, and we had 4 ladies write comfortable on the blank side. Now, see, you might have thought it would be like 2 to 1. But it's not. We got the 4 and 4 there, which is really interesting. But what I'm going to do is kind of share with you some of the things that you said were comfortable, because, you know, some of the times when, especially when we enter into relationships the first time, usually we don't keep seeing someone because it's just totally frustrating and uncomfortable to be with them. So we're going to go on a second date, you know. And usually it doesn't happen that way. We usually get magnetized to those things that are comfortable. And so what we're going to do really is 2 kinds of things. The first thing that I'm going to do is to, and of course you'll hear all these variety of voices through my voice, but just kind of pretend that it's a different voice, you know, that's speaking each time. And being the female that I am, I'm going to tell you the male responses first for comfortable, okay? And what I'm going to do, and what you'll hear some frequencies, because I thought to myself, well, how will I tell them? Now, see, I could say things like, well, you all thought that communication was big and honesty was big. I could have done that. But I want you to hear your own voice too, because when I went through myself, it was just an experience, and I want to share that experience with you. Okay, and you know, guys, you can chill, because nobody knows who said this. Okay, we have, and I'm going to read all the comfortable responses. It'll take like 2 minutes. Comfortable, these are all comfortable. Remember, you all listed the first 2 priorities. So we have, accept me for who I am. Value me as a person. Okay, we have guys saying this. comfortable. Same page, one goal. Celebrate together. Same page. You know, that when I read same page, I thought, geez, I'm always saying, are we singing from the same song sheet here? Who was that? Who was that masked man? But it's completely anonymous, you know? All right. Communicate two priorities. So we have accept me for who I am. Value me as a person. Okay, we have guys saying this. Comfortable. Same page, one goal. Celebrate together. Same page. You know, that when I read same page, I thought, geez, I'm always saying, are we singing from the same song sheet here? Who was that? Who was that masked man? But it's completely anonymous, you know? All right. Communicating, agreeing. You know, now that agreeing thing is real interesting because, well, I'll tell you later after I read all things. Understanding, Christ-centered. Similar interest, joyfulness. Openness, Christ. Relaxing conversation, pleasantness. Shared interest. Oh, didn't we hear that yet? Shared interest, simple taste. Inward peace, exchanging eye contact. Good feedback, similar interests. Acceptance of me for who I am. Boy, that sounds exactly like the first statement, doesn't it? Acceptance of me for who I am. Oh, boy. And number 2 on this card, mutual submission. Mutual submission. Remember, these are guys talking. These are Lutheran Church, Missouri Synod guys talking. Who is that man out there? That's what I want to know. All right. And we have one who wrote nothing. I guess it was kind of hard for him. It just says comfortable. There's nothing written on there. Free to pursue pastoral ministry, balanced independence. Balanced independence. God's love. God's love. Getting along with others. Can't we just all get along? But really, you know, you have to kind of get along if it's going to be comfortable, right? You rather fuss and fight? That kind of comfortable? Okay. We can just sit at home and watch TV and play games. Now, as a marriage counselor, I don't know how many times I have heard guys say, well, you know, that's what I like. And where I've heard ladies say, all he wants to do is sit at home. Just listen, because it gets real interesting. Trust, acceptance, and of course they could have gone on to say, acceptance of me for who I am. Having friends you can trust and talk to. Space to be yourself where friends accept you. A for acceptance. Trust, communication. Fun and smiles. Feeling that the other person wants to be with you. Wants to be with you, you know. And it kind of raises a question, what do we do when we're with people that can give them the message that we want to be with them, other than wearing this hat, you know, or different things like that? Well, you know, what kind of message can we give people to tell them we want want to be with you. Acceptance, communication. Someone else wrote that exact same thing. Here's one of those blank on the back side here. Trust and respect, freedom to share honestly and communicate caring. And you thought guys couldn't talk from the heart. Some of you might have thought that. Someone to talk to, the friendship. Being myself, being accepted. Accepted. Boy, that's come several times. Strong faith, listening, comfortable, communication, truthfulness, sharing friendship, trust, like the same things, have same values. It's about, what, third, fourth time that's coming? Trust, security, security, knowing you're not going to leave, you know. Relaxed, spiritual connectedness, and we got the last two here for our guys. Acceptance, self-worth, and let me flip this one over. Collegiality, clear, solid boundaries. Clear, solid boundaries. And that's where our guys had to say. And you know what? I forgot to tell you that when I was sorting this all out, I told you I had 29 males and 61 females, and I had one that didn't put a male or a female, and I wanted to kind of share their voice, but I just happened to leave it in my room because I forgot. Now, I want you to know, I'm not prejudiced if you're neither male nor female, you know. Just thought I'll let you know whoever might have done that. All right, now, ladies. Now, some of the ladies are thinking, I know what we said. I know what we said. They probably said what I said. Oh, you might be surprised. These are all the comfortable things. Communication, compatibility, same interest, not smoking. Same values, not pressuring. Acceptance of my perceptions and feelings. Stability and steadiness. Friendship, trust, acceptance. Treated with respect. Same faith and values. Some sameness and mutual respect. Good communication skills. Concern for the other person's need are being met, okay? So concern that the other person's needs are being met. To feel love, and they underline feel, to feel loved, that I'm the most important in that other person's life next to God. To feel loved and feel that I'm important. Communication, trust. Oh, there's that A word, which is acceptance, respect, trustworthy. When you feel that they are your best friend, these are the ladies. Service to others, forgiveness, communication, mutual interest, humor, love and caring. Other person not demanding, I have freedom to express my views. Remember that one on the mail cards who were saying, you know, agreeing, if we can agree, that would make me comfortable. And I'd be like, remember agreeing, and remember freedom to express my views, because I want to say something about that. Honesty and caring, understanding and trust, mutually caring for each other, trusting each other, sharing, honesty. These are all sounding very familiar. Similar interests. Feel like I can be me and honest about that. You know, that kind of taps into that realness. Because you know what? It's probably incredibly challenging to be real in a situation where someone wants you to be somebody else. You know that? Sure, sure. Okay, trust and equality, communication, trust, communication and honesty, talking honestly, can talk and feel that even if they may not agree with me, they can at least understand. Okay, even if they do not agree, they can at least understand. And let me see if I can pick this up. Respect, life experiences and interest, caring and considerate, love, similar beliefs and morals, simplicity and humor, acknowledging my thoughts and ideas, showing care of me, be an anchor that I can reach out to. God, communication, feeling needed, feeling wanted. These are the things of comfortable. Can communicate, and there's the A word, acceptance, then honesty and communication, openness and relaxed, mutual faith, acceptance, listening, commonalities, honesty, trust, openness. And see, these are all the kind of the things that we've said already that kind of come up over and over. Communication and willingness to share, and knowledge and understanding, trust and honesty, honesty and morality, respect and love, conversation, activity, trust and acceptance. You know, a lot of people who said acceptance put trust with it. Did you notice that? Communication and commonality. When you can almost read the other person's mind, for them that is comfortable. And now we have one female who left it totally blank. Maybe you can reach out to that male who left it totally blank. And y'all can like co-create comfortable together. You know what I'm saying? Since y'all don't know. Okay. And we've got honesty and trust, respect and mutual interest and morals. Morals, honesty and caring, and the freedom to be real, being part of a team, honesty on both sides, and acceptance and sharing, and able to be myself where the other person listens. Now, these are your voices, and I hope you heard your voice in some of those that I read. And as we think about those things that make us comfortable, I'm sure that you saw the theme and the pattern that just kind of weaved through all of those things. And what I felt was the most interesting thing is that each of those elements take more than one person in order for their existence to take place. In order for trust to take place, not only one person can trust and the other not trust. In order for friendship to take place, it's not possible for one to be the friend and the other one isn't. In order for respect to exist, we got the mutual respect there, and it goes on. In order for acceptance to exist, you know, you accept me and I don't accept you. Do we have acceptance in our relationship? No, we don't. Yeah, and so it's kind of a mutual weaving of all of these things in order to give life to those elements that we say are comfortable. And it seems that at the very beginning, these elements do take life. See, and that there is trust because we felt that we have connected to something real. So what I like to do right now, because I know, see, if I were sitting in your chairs right now, I'd be like, oh, well, it's kind of exciting. What I like to do, and let me think here. Why don't you kind of decide to break down into maybe the roles that you're in, and maybe one person from each of those roles come up, just one, you decide maybe the one on the end or something, come up and take a yarn thing. You don't have to run. Just come up. Just come up and take a yarn thing. Oh, you'll do this part. Okay. 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 Wonderful. We got just enough there. Wonderful. Okay. Let me borrow you for just a minute so I can kind of give my little instruction. The first thing you want to do is take the wrapper thing off. Okay. And find the little thingy thing. Here. It's sticking out. Is this? Okay. So those of you who don't work with yarn, like I don't, it's like at the top and you just kind of pull it, you know. For me, what this yarn represents is a kind of onness, where we are, where we have the weaving of faith and love and power in our hands, because we are the image of God, huh? And because that faith, love, and power is part of who He is, it's also a part of who we are. So what I'd like for you to do is kind of the one who has the string right now, just kind of take the string and kind of wound one of the things on your finger, just a little bit. Just kind of wound it on there. And what I'd like for you to do, and I know that you probably don't even know who's sitting in your row, and that's quite all right, because you will. Oh, yeah. What I'd like for you to do, if you don't know that person, first, you know, introduce yourself. And after you do that, what I'd like for you to do is say something to them that you think will help them feel comfortable as they leave this conference. And I want you to check with them, after you say it, check with them and say, was that a comfortable message? Okay, can you do that? Can you do that? Yeah, you can. Okay. No, the one with the yarn says it to one person and gives them the roll of yarn, and then they say it to the other person, but you still, and then after it's passed to you, first thing you got to do is wind it up around one of your fingers or something, say something comfortable to the next one, and then pass it along. Okay? You got it? Okay? But if you don't know the person sitting next to you, introduce yourself. Before you got to do that first, see? And then you give them that comfortable message. Okay? All right, here you go. I'll be part of you all's group. You give them a comfortable message. Just give them a comfortable message, that's all. As they leave, give them a comfortable message. Okay, my wonderful, wonderful people. Listen up now. Now that you're kind of connected a little bit more than you were before, I'm gonna do what normally happens in a relationship. Since we connected a couple of times here, it's time for me to tell you what I'm uncomfortable with. Okay? Okay, let me tell you what I'm uncomfortable with. All right? As a guy, some of the things that make me uncomfortable is you try to dominate me. Like you try to take that string, put it around my neck. You know what I'm saying? You try to dominate me. All right? Other things is, why aren't you talking to me now? Why are you disagreeing? See? These are some things that are making me uncomfortable. Because see, with that kind of that string thing, we could have the faith, power, and love thing, but we can also have some other possibilities we can do with that string, can't we? And those other possibilities we can do with that string can be very uncomfortable. So let me just kind of tell you what some of those things are, and we're gonna move on to the next step here. Let's see. How come you're not talking to me? We all strung together and you just stopped talking. I know you stopped talking because you're saying, what's she doing? But see, this is kind of what happens. You just stop talking, and aren't you interested? Phrasing it in the form of a question. This uncomfortableness. Oh, wait a minute, you got that string in your hand. You don't hate me, do you? What you gonna do with that? What you gonna do with that? Are you gonna judge me? See whose string is the longest here? Is that what we gonna do? Yeah. Not being willing to talk, opposition to views. These are the guys. These are some of the things that make you uncomfortable. Once you're a little bit connected, okay, doing a lot of things outside the house, which means I don't get to sit at home and watch TV and play cards. What you talking about? The theater. That's uncomfortable for me. See, when we first started dating, you sat at home. Now you want to go to the theater. All right. And what you telling your friends? Falsely talked about. Falsely talked about. And now you don't notice it me anymore. All you can see is the string. They didn't say that, but they just said being unnoticed. No two-way conversation. See, that string can go one way if we let it, couldn't it? Couldn't it? Yeah, it could just go that one way and never come back the other way. Trying to change me. Trying to change me. Lying to me or hiding things from me. Not talking with each other. Clinging to me. Oh, I see some possibilities for that string to cling, don't you? All right, not getting along, not communicating. And you mean I gotta talk to one other person in my role? This is similar to this, having to meet new people, having to socialize or be sociable. I don't even know these folks in my role. Very uncomfortable. Okay. Uncommunicated demands. Uncommunicated demands. And that's real interesting, because when you pass them the string, there was something they were supposed to do, wasn't it? And you didn't have to say, tie the thing around your finger. It was just uncommunicated. Everybody else was doing it. Uncommunicated demand. This is interesting. Uncomfortable. Being by myself sometimes. Fear of being disliked. Fear of being disliked. What if they don't pass me a string? What if nobody in my role can't think of a comfortable message for me? Okay, intimidation, selfishness, tackyism. And they put in parentheses, appearance. Thank you, because I might not have known what tackyism was. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Not accepted, no communication. Wanting to control and demand. I don't know, did anybody in your role like control the street? Did the people who picked up the ball of yarn the first time, are they controlling the ball right now? In some cases, oh, I saw you throw that on the floor. Oh, no, not me. Ooh, let me get rid of the evidence. See, that's what happens a lot of times. You want to get rid of evidence, act like you ain't controlling nothing. Oh, no. Innocent me? Oh, absolutely not. and not friendly, no communication. And we just got just a few more here for our guys. Competitive with me. Now, let me ask you, did anybody like compete to say the more positive, comfortable messages? I mean, could you overhear anybody else's message? No, usually we don't. Because usually those things are kind of hidden from us. The things that we might take notice of or hear from other people are the criticisms about somebody else. The criticisms. And so the criticisms can be very uncomfortable. No conversation. Pretense. Now, this pretense was probably a very uncomfortable thing before this person ever came to this conference. Because we all are very familiar with that game of pretend. Assumption that I'm someone else. Assumption that I'm someone else. And let's see, the very last things that make us uncomfortable, for the guys anyway, dishonesty, power plays, suspicion, dominance, nothing in common, different values, cheating, no trust. And lastly, never talking. Not both of them being Christian and being self-centered and, let's see, anything else. Having to feel like I have to entertain, trying to be what I think the other person wants me to be. You know, it's interesting. Once we do get connected, it's like that's the time to kind of bring up what we're uncomfortable about. Well, what do you suppose that is? Okay, hold on. Let me give you some voice here.
I said you feel comfortable with them and feel like you can really tell them what you feel.
So you feel comfortable with them and you can tell them what's uncomfortable. Okay?
If you say it too soon in the relationship, they might never be out.
See? If you say it too soon, they may never be back. So we're going to pretend everything's fine. Yeah. We're going to pretend everything's fine. And ladies, you guys pretty much said the same thing. I don't know. How much time do I have? 2 minutes? 2 minutes? I'm sorry. I got more than 2 minutes. Because some time taken away from me. Oh, yeah. So she going to give me 1 more minute. How gracious of you. Let's just turn that 2 into a 10, shall we? Okay. Because I want you guys to know what it is the ladies have said. What they said is when he wants to be the boss, poor communication, focus different from my own, not being able to understand, dishonesty, lack of communication, self-centered, lack of concern. And remember, this is when you're already connected. This is when it's supposed to be comfortable enough in the relationship to hear these things. Okay? Self-centered, unconcerned, tells half-truths. These are the ladies. Talks about self. Let's see. I don't want to get my ladies and guys mixed up here. Okay. Other things that are uncomfortable, I will just kind of briefly give you the point here. no space, preconceived notion about who I am. When he puts me down, no respect. So we got the no respect, no put downs, too many differences, no respect, no communication, being pressured, not open about how they feel, not open about how they feel, not a Christian, no values, judgmental, controlling, tell you lies, puts others before you, controlling, selfish, no communication, no humor, unbelief, lack of trust, different distance styles. Different distance styles. Can you say that 5 times fast? Different moral values, not being faithful, dishonesty, selfishness. If he's an alcoholic, that can be kind of uncomfortable. Dishonesty, different values, too much pressure, unequal level of attraction, and she explains, when one is more attractive than the other, friendship versus romance. You know, people got 2 different things in mind there. Nothing in common, controlling, perfectionism, me attitude, lack of values, negativity. I'm just going to read one from each of these. Dismissing my thoughts, just kind of being blown off, no communication, phony, feeling like I'm being used. Like, well, when he finds somebody else, you know, he's just kind of go on to that somebody else. You know, I'm just kind of like this feeling for the time being. Lack of acceptance. You remember acceptance was mentioned a whole bunch of times? Okay, so we have one person for the uncomfortable mentions lack of acceptance, and so a person ignoring us, different levels of faith, unwillingness by other person to take initiative in the relationship. You see, that's really interesting when we look at that. See, unwillingness of other person to take initiative. Now, if nobody takes the initiative, what's going to happen? See, I'm waiting on you. Don't you know I'm waiting on you to take some initiative? So, as long as I wait for initiative, will it exist? See, it's like waiting to be motivated. You know, you're in a double bind. You're waiting to be motivated. So as long as you wait, motivation is just not going to happen. And so we have the trust thing again, the secretive thing again, uncertainty, and this is going to take 5 seconds to deal with the rest of the cards here. I said to deal with the rest of the cards here. See, I kind of got up here because she's like, so notice how I just kind of adjusted myself, you know? Dishonesty, stuck-upness, inconsideration, yeah, like taxism, yes. You all just such original communicators of the English language. Okay, and you say communication several times. Very original. Okay, when I'm caught unaware and unprepared, I'm uncomfortable. Possessiveness, abuse, yeah, that would be very uncomfortable. Conflict, when a person tries to change me, constant criticism, not feeling of caring from the other person, and then our last few here, being excluded, too bossy, pressuring too fast, non-acceptance, not willing to give, too controlling. You know, that controlling thing is all part of that power issue, see. And they're going to tell you all those things that make you uncomfortable after you're connected a little bit. And see, and that's why when we talk about the thing about onness and the connectedness is that once we're connected through Christ, some transformations can happen. See, we don't have to just kind of take the string and throw it on the floor. See what I'm saying? We don't have to just throw it on the floor. The Christ can transform the connections that we already have. If we're both in Christ, that kind of thing can happen. And so with that faith and power and love that we already have in our hands as people who have the same image of God, what I'd like for you to do is just kind of stand up. That's all. That's all. We're wrapping it up, Lois. Just stand up. And since you have some connectedness, one of the things that Christ people do, I think, pretty well, and that is share the love and the wealth and the faith. So what I want you to do right now is just kind of toss your love to the other side. Just kind of toss it to the other side so that they can share some of that you got going there. Just go ahead and toss it to the other side. Yeah. Yeah. And say something kind to them while you're doing it. Say something and help them feel comfortable. Go in peace, something. Tell them something. All right, wonderful. Keep going, keep going. We're gonna get it in a minute. Just keep going. Oh, yeah. Now toss it to the back or the front of you now. Toss it to the back or the front. Okay, get the, hit it? Yeah, hit it. Keep going. All right, y'all ready to do the single shuffle now? Are you ready to do that? Okay. Oh, that's looking good from here. Ah. All right. As we transform our lives from all that stress and strife, it's a kind of a cool thing that happens. Now, go ahead, do the throw thing for like 20 or so more seconds. Get it out your system. Get it out your system. Come on. Come on. Get it all out. Get it out. Something's happening here. Something is happening. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of something happening in this room. Oh, yeah. Okay, now raise it up. Raise it up. Oh, yeah, that's looking good. All right. Now swing to the left a little bit. And to the right. To the left. Yeah, to the right. Woo, y'all looking good. You're looking real good. You know what? It's looking like it's on. It's looking like it's on. The God of love, the Holy Crew, is doing a new thing through you. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is now. See the colors of the season. See the colors without reason. See the patterns that connect. It's the network of Christ. You bet. Ah, yeah. The God of love, the Holy Crew, is doing a through you. See the colors of the season, see the rhyme without reason. Does single have a cause and reason, or is it just a time, a season? Ah, hoo-ha, what we see? We see something differently. Hoo-ha, what we see? We see something differently. Yes, we do now. Single man, single lady, aunt, uncle, daughter, son, look out, 'cause it's on. It's on. What do you mean? How is Christ building a dream? It's on faith, it's on love, it's on the power of God above. We say it's on faith, it's on love, it's on the power of God above. Yes it is, yes it is, yes it is now. Oh yeah. It's on. We're in a season of on. See the colors of the season. See the colors without reason. See the patterns that connect. It's the network of Christ. You bet. Oh, look at that transformation. It's moving. I think it's alive. Y'all looking alive out there. Even the party animals are looking alive out there. Yeah. The God of love, the Holy Crew, is doing a new thing through you. Hoo-ha, what we see? We see something differently. Hoo-ha, what we see? We see something differently. See the colors of the season, see the colors without reason. See the patterns that connect. It's the network of Christ. You bet. Single man, single lady, aunt, uncle, daughter, son, look out! 'Cause it's what? It's on. What's it on? It's on faith. It's on love. It's on the power of God above. We say it's on faith. It's on love. It's on the power of God above. That's wonderful. Now, well, I'm going to ask you to do something real interesting. Y'all just kind of step towards the center aisle, would you please? Just kind of step towards the center aisle. All right. Now, we're going to lay our entire network before the altar. Just come on up. Just lay yours on down before the altar. Just kind of lay it down on the floor. On the floor. Yeah. And once you lay yours on the floor, just kind of go on back. That's our network. All right. Hoo-ha, what we see? We see something differently. Hoo-ha, what we see? We see something differently. The God of love, the Holy Crew, is doing a new thing through you. See the colors of the season, see the colors without reason, see the patterns that connect. It's the network of Christ. You bet. Oh, yes it is now. Yes it is now. Oh yeah. This is all of our patterns of the season right here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? All right. Woo! Woo-hoo! Hoo-ha, what we see? We see something differently. Hoo-ha, what something differently. Faith and love and God above, we have ourselves a big old bundle of love. Real big bundle of love right here. Oh yeah. The God of love, the Holy Crew, is doing a new thing through you and you and you and you. Yes, he is now. Don't you forget that when you leave, it's on. Somebody say to you, what you waiting on? Tell them, it's already on. It's already on. One more time, it's on faith, it's on love, it's on the power of God above. We say it's on faith, it's on love, it's on the power of God above. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Carolyn, would you come up and make the announcements on the elections, and then we'll proceed with our worship service.